Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Sophie Erber. As our nation's capital gets ready to swear in Joe Biden as President of the United States, lawmakers on Capitol Hill are preparing for now a second impeachment trial of President Donald Trump. KCAU 9's Washington correspondent Trevor Shirley reports in our top story at 5.
When the impeachment trial actually begins really comes down to when Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi decides to send that single article of impeachment from the House over to the Senate, which then starts the trial process. At this point, it's not clear when that will happen, but keep in mind Democrats gain control of the Senate on Wednesday. That's when Chuck Schumer also becomes Senate Majority Leader. There's a possibility the article of impeachment could be sent to the Senate either tomorrow or Wednesday, but the question is then whether Democrats want to do that and potentially overshadow the big news of Wednesday, which will be Joe Biden becoming president. In terms of the president's defense team, this weekend Rudy Giuliani suggested to ABC News that he would be a part of the president's defense, but at this point he says that's not going to happen because he could potentially be called as a witness. Beyond that, attorney Alan Dershowitz said last week he'd be open to being part of the defense team, but then later told the Boston Herald he would not be a part of that effort. And according to a CNN report today, President Trump is considering as many as 100 pardons or commutations to be issued in the final 48 hours of his presidency before his term ends on Wednesday at noon.
In Washington, Trevor Shirley, KCAU 9 News.
Leading up to Inauguration Day, roughly 25,000 National Guard troops are gathering to protect the Capitol. That includes guardsmen from right here in Siouxland. The AP confirming Iowa is sending 265 soldiers and airmen from its guard. Meanwhile, the Nebraska National Guard is sending roughly 300 troops. Now, it's unclear if the South Dakota National Guard is sending support. Our sister station, Kello, has confirmed soldiers and airmen are being called on for a potential deployment to D.C., but the reason has not yet been publicly released. And the country tonight observing Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Some were saying the holiday has a little extra meaning this year after Raphael Warnock became Georgia's first black senator and just days before America's first woman of color is sworn in as vice president. Unity in the Community leader Monique Scarlett tonight tells us that she thinks America's come a long way, and she says she hopes people will take a little time today to learn more about what Martin Luther King Jr. stood for, such as civil disobedience and peaceful protest.
Dr. King's Day can be like no other day. Like, it just can't be the marches, the events we have once a year. It has to be everyday execution, because we have to keep moving.
Now, for anyone wishing to participate, the First Congregation Church tonight will be honoring Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. with a live stream celebration. That's tonight at 10, and we will provide details on our website. Emergency crews today called to a gas leak. It happened this afternoon after a pickup truck crashed into a Sioux City business. Authorities say the driver ran onto the curb, hitting a few buildings along the 600 block of Pearl Street, eventually colliding into Maya Modification. That's a tattoo shop. Mid-American Energy then investigated a reported gas leak. The owners have since been allowed back into their buildings. Officials say there is no proof that drugs or alcohol were involved in this crash. And it's time tonight for our first check on the weather. Meteorologist Marcus Beasley standing by. Marcus, not a bad way to start the work week. We saw the sun.
That's right, Sophie. Sunny skies today, and we had temperatures warming up into the lower to mid 30s for much of Siouxland. Here in Sioux City, we warmed up a little bit warmer than that. Up to 37 degrees was our high, as well as Norfolk. 10 degrees colder, though, in Storm Lake at 27 today, 29 in Spencer for your high, 30 in Orange City, and 35 in Yankton. So most of us right around average throughout Siouxland. Overnight tonight, we will see temperatures drop into the upper teens and lower 20s throughout the region. So expect a chilly night ahead. It does look like we are going to have the opportunity to see a little bit of snow overnight tonight and into tomorrow morning. I'll have more details on that coming up in the 9 on 9 forecast. Sophie?
All right, thanks, Marcus. As testing for COVID-19 becomes more readily available, you might think the at-home or rapid COVID-19 tests could save you a little time, but it actually might set you back in the long run, some are saying. We caught up with one Siouxlander who's sharing his experience with taking a rapid test, saying that he had symptoms and he tested positive. And 2 months later, he doesn't have any antibodies, leaving him to believe he was never infected with COVID-19. So for him tonight, he tells KCAU the test was not very accurate.
I mean, seems like it was false positive. I mean, it's a good idea to get a quick test, but I mean, it's not necessarily going to be 100% right. We cannot rely rapid test of COVID-19.
Now, a lab supervisor at Unity Point Health St. Luke says that one issue with the at-home testing is that the person taking the test might not administer it properly, and that the accuracy of any test depends on the quality of the sample provided. So that could affect both at-home and rapid testing. Coming up tonight at 6, KCAU 9's Mallory Smith explains more about the accuracy of the tests. High school students and staff will soon be back in the classroom full-time. The principal tells us that they have monitored trends here in Sioux City, like student attendance and positivity rates, and how the students were performing in the classroom. She says the district decided that now seemed like an optimal time to bring the students back, and says that they can do so in South Sioux City in a safe way.
I think high school does many things for students, one of which is the curriculum that we offer. Our students learn better when they are in front of our staff, our highly trained staff. The other side of this is the social emotional piece, which is probably more important this year than it ever has been.
Now, students will be back in the classroom again full-time starting February 1st. Masks and social distancing guidelines will continue to be implemented. And South Dakota health officials say the state is now launching the next phase of their coronavirus vaccinations. It's phase 1D now, and it includes people 65 years of age and older, beginning with those who are 80 and older. 1D also includes high-risk patients, including those currently on dialysis and post-transplant recipients. Avera Medical Group Vice President Dr. David Basil says there are 250,000 individuals in Group 1D, and they're getting 11,000 doses a week. Basil says it's going to take a little bit of patience. Taking a look now at the latest COVID-19 numbers today in Siouxland, Woodbury County Health confirming 10 new cases, drastically less than the usual number. The county's positivity rate reflecting that, as it drops now to just over 13%. In Nebraska, Dakota County with 18 new positive tests today. The county's positivity rate trending downward. It's at nearly 8%, so flat. And in South Dakota, Lincoln County reports 9 new cases. The positivity rate there stands at 10.5%. The Dakota County Health Department has a new website, and it's an improvement from their last one, they say. Previously, Dakota County residents had to navigate to the health department's page on the county's courthouse website. Now, this new site provides the community with information on services they provide, along with links to other organizations and up-to-date COVID-19 guidance. You can learn more in this digital exclusive story posted on our website right now, SiouxlandProud.com. Speaking of new things, KCAU 9 is proud to announce the start of a new weekly franchise, Veterans Voices. The first story will air Tuesday, February 16th, during KCAU 9 News at 10. Now, nominations are currently open, so if you know a veteran with a story to tell, we'd like you to email us the address there on your screen. That's veteransvoices@kcautv.com. Well, domestic violence is a pressing public health issue that affects millions of Americans, but there are ways it can be prevented too. ABC's Elizabeth Schulte tells us how and some of the programs that can also help.
About 1 in 4 women and 1 in 10 men have experienced sexual violence, stalking, or physical violence at least once in their lifetime. In the last year, 1 in 12 students experienced physical dating violence, and 1 in 12 experienced sexual dating violence. Domestic violence can be preventable. The key for intimate partner violence prevention is to stop these violent behaviors from occurring in the first place, and to promote healthy, respectful, and nonviolent relationships within communities. Programs that endorse healthy communication, problem solving, and effective management of emotions can help stop domestic violence. Patient and victim-centered resources and housing programs are crucial for supporting survivors to increase safety and reduce harm. Early childhood visitations and family-based programs can help stop cycles of domestic abuse as well. Ultimately, creating protective environments, engaging influential peers and adults, and teaching safe and healthy relationship skills are key to prevention. For more information about domestic violence prevention, go to cdc.gov. With this Medical Minute, I'm Elizabeth Schulte, ABC News.
And as we know, many people are celebrating Dr. Martin Luther King today. And for some, that means learning from the past to create a better future. We'll explore some key lessons you can take to heart coming up.
And it's looking like light snow possible tonight. We'll have a midweek warm up and then a colder weekend ahead. Details on all of that after the break.
You're watching KCAU 9 News with Sophie Erber and meteorologist Marcus Beasley. This is KCAU 9 News at 5.
It's still pretty far out, so we'll have a better idea of that storm system here in the coming days.
Overall, though, our precipitation, again, to start 2021, probably below average would be my guess.
Yeah, pretty dry. I'll have to look at those numbers and have an update at 6.
All right, thanks a lot, Marcus. And out of all the ways to commemorate a new president, how about a unique coloring book? How the idea got started, coming up. But first, the words of Martin Luther King Jr. still resonating with Americans today, just as much as when he was alive. How we can learn from his message of equality and justice. Next.
Will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood? I have a dream.
He was so committed to peaceful nonviolence.
Dr. J. Murray Murdoch has been teaching at Cedarville University for 56 years, joining the faculty in the midst of the civil rights movement inspired by Dr. King's message.
I remember a time during the events of the past year and a half where I wondered if it had all been in vain what we did in the 60s.
Dr. Hassan Jeffries says progress has been made, but Dr. King's work remains unfinished.
We're still dealing with so many of the same core issues, although they look a little different.
He says there's no better example than what happened last week. While Dr. King used nonviolence to promote the right to vote, what happened at the Capitol was the opposite.
White supremacy is, in fact, the principal threat to democracy. That's why we need to take seriously this insurrection and the use of political violence to undermine democracy today.
Despite the current divisions in the country, both men say Dr. King would still promote nonviolence today, using words to make a point, not weapons.
King, even with his dying breath, believed in this experiment that is America, that is American democracy. And so he clung to a hopefulness even when there was no reason to be optimistic.
I still believe Dr. King's message of nonviolence. I still believe he had the better way, and he was a great American. He withstood great difficulty and trial and always stood for peaceful change.
Some organizations are not using Monday as a holiday, but rather as a day of service to honor Dr. King's legacy. And with the pandemic, some are holding virtual conversations about race and unity to spread that message before Inauguration Day.
Presidential coloring books already sounds like a niche enough market, right? But one business making their product stand out even more. What makes theirs the first of its kind? Next.
Tonight on News Nation, a man found living in one of the busiest airports in the country for 3 months. How he dodged security for so long. Plus, seconds to save a high school senior. Why police had to pull this maneuver to rescue a teenager. That's tonight on News Nation, starting 8/7 Central on WGN America.
President-elect Joe Biden will be sworn in on Wednesday. And to mark the occasion, one company is releasing a historic coloring book. Patrick Clark shows us why it's one of a kind.
We are living through history in these current times of ours, and a Show Me State business is documenting it using a process that goes back to the pharaohs of Egypt. It's the first ever presidential coloring book made out of hemp paper.
We've made a lot of presidential coloring books over the years. Barack Obama, we'll go all the way back to the Clintons making coloring books. But we had the opportunity to purchase some hemp paper recently. And hemp paper just became available again in the United States. This will be the first Air Force One printed on hemp paper, thank you. And so we had the opportunity to print, on hemp paper, and I thought, what better to do than we got a new president coming and a new vice president. That's a first, for those guys. Let's just do America's first hemp paper presidential coloring and activity book.
A strong paper source, it does not look like your typical gloss paper, lasting hundreds of years. Wayne Bell's coloringbook.com is behind the images that pop off the page. And the new commemorative coloring book for classrooms, featuring mazes and puzzles in the 40-page book that includes the 46th president, Joe Biden, and the first woman of color, Vice President Kamala Harris.
These are the first dogs like Major and Champ that are coming soon to the White House in just a few days. And so we just want to congratulate the country, to congratulate, the new administration. The political stuff, we don't, whatever. We make books is what we do. We represent the nation in coloring books. And we try to do the best we can. And I thought, what better than to do the Bill of Rights on hemp paper.
The 8.5 by 11 presidential coloring book made out of hemp paper sells for $12.99 at coloringbook.com, where you'll find just about any kind of coloring book that's waiting to come to life.
Who knew? Taking a live look outside right now. Marcus returns right after this break and this sunset. Stay with us. Before wrapping up here at 5, let's check in first with Tim for what's coming up at 6. Hi, Tim.
Hey, good Monday afternoon, Sophie. Another Siouxland School District is set to go back to fully bring students into the classroom 100% of the time. They'll be in the building. We'll talk with one of the administrators about what went into that decision. That's coming up at 6. Also tonight, even as a virus for the vaccine is arriving here in Siouxland across the community, the demand for rapid COVID-19 testing remains high. After World News tonight, how it's decided which test is best and what some health professionals are saying about the reliability of those tests. And with restaurant customers a bit hard to come by these days and more flour than they know what to do with, a husband and wife pizza team is making sure their big bags of pizza flour don't go to waste. We'll explain how they're getting the job done and increase your appetite as well. Again, that's all at 6.
I was going to say thanks a lot, Tim. Now, of course, we want a slice of pizza, right? Not bad weather for it tonight. Temperatures dropping off.
Yeah, it's going to be cold. Maybe a few flurries tonight. Tomorrow looks like it will be a little bit warmer.
All right. Thanks, Marcus, and thank you for joining us. We'll both see you back here at 6. Good night.